Hello, everybody. Come on in here. Welcome to Southern Granny. Today, we are going to change up Taco Tuesday just a little, and we are going to make Spanish rice stew. When I was first married and introduced to this recipe, I thought it was just the Spanish rice that you get when you go to a Mexican restaurant and get your rice and beans on the side, but that is not the case. This is a nice hearty little stew with all those Spanish rice flavors in them. And it's filling, and we've had a cold snap come this way. So we're looking for something warm this evening. This is a simple little meal. Our ingredients are hamburger meat, green chilies. You know my Holly boys wouldn't have it without that. We start off with uncooked rice, but we will cook this separately and add it at the end. We want tomato juice, these large cans or jars of them. And our spices are going to be sweet basil, garlic salt, and pepper. This is going to be simple. It's going to be easy. We could Once we put this all together, we could slow cook it and let it just simmer low and slow on the stove till everybody gets home. We could put it together, put it in the refrigerator, and let it sit there until everybody's ready to eat. Or we can take some out, gift it to a friend, stick it in a container in our freezer. Don't forget, we love to freezer bank around here. So I'm going to make a double batch for my family. They really enjoy this. And the only other thing I'm going to do is toast some bread, put a little bit of butter on top, sprinkle some garlic salt, and we are going to have Spanish rice and garlic toast for dinner tonight. All right, we're going to start off by putting about 2 pounds of ground beef into our skillet. I've got it heated on medium. And then what we have left, I'm going to just stick right into a Ziploc bag. It's either going to go in the fridge for quick burgers for lunch tomorrow, maybe if really tacos, or I'll stick it in the freezer so that we can use this for another quick meal. We're just going to break this meat up as it cooks, get all the big chunks out of it. I hope you can see in my pan. And then once we get it broke down just a little bit, we are going to go ahead and add our onion to cook in with our ground beef. Granny did not have a fresh onion here, but that's okay because I stock my pantry and I save foods in all kinds of different ways. I had some of my home dehydrated onions. So I've got about a half a cup. This would be about half of an onion, maybe a little more, but I'm going to just sprinkle this on top. And the juices from this meat, as it's cooking, is going to start the rehydration process. And then as we add more of our liquids into the pan, it will continue to rehydrate. And nobody but me and you are going to know that there was not a fresh onion used in this today. All right, let's get this hamburger meat cooked up, and we will come back with our next step. While our meat is cooking, we're continuing to stir and break that down into smaller bite-sized pieces here. But I'm also starting my water for my rice. Since I'm doubling the recipe, I've got 2 cups of rice here. So a general rule of thumb is However much rice you have, you use double that in water, and it usually will come out pretty good. So I've got my water started, gonna let that boil, make my rice, and continue to just check this meat, stir a little bit, break it up, let all that pink go ahead and get out of it. And then when we're finished with that, I'm going to go ahead and drain whatever amount of grease is in the bottom of this pan before we add all of our other ingredients. I also forgot to mention earlier, whenever I was telling you guys about being able to slow cook this or to stick it in the freezer, honey, you could just make this and serve it up as soon as it's done. So hot and fresh off the cooktop. That's the way to do that if you can. If you have some leftover rice in the refrigerator from another meal, save yourself some time, darling. You don't have to cook you fresh rice. Take that rice out of the fridge, throw it right in there cold, and stir that in. It's just as good as making rice fresh every time. Hamburger meat is all ready to go, and our rice just finished. I gave it a nice little fluff, and I'm just going to dump it right on in the pan. And that is a lot of rice, but this is a very filling meal. It's going to fill your belly, and it's going to keep you warm in the evening on those cold days. So this is a great little quick and easy meal when the weather decides it's going to go from spring back to winter again. So just mix that rice in here with the ground beef. I've got my pan on a medium heat. Get that mixed in. We're going to toss in our green chilies. So double batch means 2 cans for me. While I'm putting stuff in this pan, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to grab my cans of tomato juice. Just pour those right on in there. When your pot starts looking a little full, just give it a stir down. And that'll make more room for our juices to go in there. Oh, that's looking so lovely. Okay, go ahead and add the rest of my tomato juice. 1 can down. Oh, let's get it all. All right, here comes the next one. Boy, I hope I have enough room in this pot because this double batch is going to make a lot. I may have to separate a little bit out into our rice pan because we're just heating this on up. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Get all that rice. It's going to soak up. Every grain of rice is going to soak up that tomato juice flavor in there, green chilies, and the spices that we're going to add to them. All right, this is going to be a very full pot. My Holly boys are going to enjoy this, and if this cold weather sticks around, the flavor only improves once it sets in the fridge or the freezer. So it will just be doubly tasty for us all. All right, so we've got everything in there except for our spices. We are going to just add garlic salt. We are going to add salt. And honeys, you know if you don't want that in there or not. You do what you need to do for that. We're going to just give it some pepper. And the final ingredient I like to add is sweet basil. Usually I grow it and save it so that I can have my fresh, but I kind of ran out this year. So I'm going to plant some inside my house so I can have some in my kitchen window. And then during the garden season, I'll go ahead and plant probably twice as much as I planted last year. Go on and give it a good amount. Oh, my recipe just says to taste. So salt, pepper, garlic salt, and sweet basil to your taste. So give that a nice little mix. If you're going to serve this right away, you'll just go ahead and turn the heat up a little, let it come to a nice little boil, and make your toast while this is heating up. And by the time this starts bubbling, you're ready to call your people to the table. So, but I'm a little early. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down to a simmer or to a low, and I'm not going to put my lid on it. I'm going to just let this do its thing. Every once in a while, when I come through here, I give it a little stir, make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom, make sure every bit it's getting those spices mixed in. And I'm going to just let this simmer away until everybody gets here and gets ready for our dinner. But my dinner is made. Everything except our toast. This was simple. It was quick. We're going to round it out with that garlic toast, and they are going to be delighted to eat on this tonight. All right. We will see you guys back at the table. All right. Here's the reveal. Taste test at the holly table.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you. Rob, you like that? What a nice meal on a cool day, huh? Thank you so much for joining us today and making this Spanish rice with me. It's always so lovely to have you in the kitchen. It makes cooking fun for me. So you guys try this. Let me know what you think. And as always, you remember there's always a seat at Granny's table.